part of the deal is a massive commercial investment and interest that Donald Trump is trying to get in Ukrainian minerals. If you've got America securing hundreds of billions of dollars of mineral rights in Ukraine, there is a very strong implicit security guarantee there.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Editor-in-Chief Hugo Gurdon. And Hugo, this week, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer came to meet with President Donald Trump. And you wrote for the Washington Examiner about how each man brought just a totally different ethos into that meeting.
Yes, it's extraordinary, Sarah, how, often there will be quite a meeting of minds between the American president and the head of the British government. But on this occasion, it's difficult to imagine two men who view things more differently. The absolute core of President Trump's political message and agenda is restoring American greatness. And that means pride in American history, wanting America to be wealthy, not to sluice it off into woke socialism, postmodern socialism, pride in the history. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, seems like he is ashamed of British past greatness. He's done various token symbolic things, like he's removed a portrait of Shakespeare from 10 Downing Street. His party, the Labour Party, have removed reportedly 5 portraits of Winston Churchill from Parliament or parliamentary offices. Keir Starmer is, absolutely in line with sort of modern leftist, anti-colonial guilt trip, and so he and President Trump are just completely alien characters from each other.
You've also been critical of a recent move by Starmer to hand over strategic British territory to allies of U.S. adversaries. Explain that deal and then what that means for the U.S.
Yeah, well, this is connected to the same thing. Because he sees everything through a sort of post-colonial, leftist, self-flagellating lens. Keir Starmer has agreed to hand over British sovereign territory, the Chagos Islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean, where the United States has a military base at Diego Garcia. The reason for this follows a decision about a decade ago by the International Court that the United Kingdom should hand over the Chagos to Mauritius, to the Mauritanian government. Now, in truth, the Chagos Islands and Mauritius have nothing to do with each other. They are 1,339 miles apart. Britain has had the Chagos Islands as sovereign territory for more than 2 centuries, and even the first Prime Minister of Mauritius said, this is territory we never even visit. So President Trump is reported to absolutely detest this suggestion, because one of those, at least, suggesting that Britain hand over this, one of the judges, was a Chinese woman who was former member of the Chinese government, and a supporter, for example, of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Mauritius, who would be given sovereignty, is an ally of China's. So the question arises, what is Britain doing? Britain and handing over sovereignty, even if it leases back the territory, as it supposedly does at great expense, what is it doing handing over sovereignty to an ally of Communist China, against whom the strategic base in the Indian Ocean is principally effective? So President Trump has the ability to nix this agreement, and I think the probability is that he's going to, and this deal won't go through. But it would be a very good thing for the West if Keir Starmer were confronted on this, both in terms for sort of moral and political reasons and for strategic reasons.
This meeting also came against the backdrop of President Donald Trump pushing to end the war in Ukraine without necessarily making explicit security guarantees for Ukraine. The British Prime Minister came in hoping to change Trump's mind. What do you think of all that?
Well, Britain and France and other NATO countries, but principally Britain and France, are pushing for NATO peacekeepers in Ukraine after a peace deal with Russia is concluded. Obviously, having the strongest American security guarantees as part of that as possible is very attractive to France and the United Kingdom. And in fact, without any kind of security guarantees, it's probably very difficult to come to that deal. But part of the deal is a massive commercial investment and interest that Donald Trump is trying to get in Ukrainian minerals. If you've got America securing hundreds of billions of dollars of mineral rights in Ukraine, there is a very strong implicit security guarantee there. And so I don't know whether Keir Starmer is going to be effective in trying to get more explicit written security guarantees in any deal that comes to end that war. But having a big American commercial interests in the country and a NATO presence peopled by European nations would probably be a pretty big disincentive to Russia to renew its aggression.
Well, Hugo, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here today. You can get more writing from Hugo and the rest of the commentary team at washingtonexaminer.com.